Welcome to the Free from Binge Eating podcast with me, Breed, your host. Binge eating sucks. Trust me, I know. I was stuck in that spiral of binge, restrict, diet, yo-yoing weight loss, feeling guilty and ashamed, and hating my body for 10 years. Now that I'm out, I'm turning my pain into purpose by helping you stop binging, start loving your body, self, and life again. It's time to live free from binge eating. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I'm Breed and I'm going to get into this topic today about weight loss and trying to understand, are your intentions helpful or harmful, let's say. So as always, this was a question that came from one of you guys. It was on a TikTok comment. So I thought it's a pretty common question that I get in my DMs as well. So I want to really make it into a podcast episode. Basically, she was saying like, how do I know if my desire to lose weight is for like healthy, genuine reasons, or that old distorted eating disorder voice sort of creeping back in and try to like convince me it's for healthy reasons, but actually it's not, and it's just for like control or lack of self-worth reasons. So we're going to go into that today. As always, guys, if you are at that part in your journey, earlier in the journey where you're still struggling with disordered eating and you're trying to heal, I would definitely say to drop out of this episode at the moment, because I think weight loss, fat loss is just not the topic that you ideally need to be hearing about right now. You need to be focusing on just opening up opening up your food world, let's say, just instead of, because obviously fat loss or weight loss inherently requires some sort of like control or like a deficit, and we want to be doing the complete opposite if you're in a disordered eating space, just like totally opening up your world, having more freedom, more ease, going on the other side of the spectrum, basically. So drop out of the episode if that's just where you're at in your journey. If, however, you've worked on your food relationship, you're feeling more chill, and you got this feeling, you know what, I wouldn't mind to lose some weight for whatever reason, and you're just like not totally sure, is it actually like convincing myself that I want to lose weight for good reasons, but actually it is still my old patterns creeping in? This is your episode. So I think before you, the first thing essentially I would want you to do, if you are deciding like, is this desire to lose weight a healthy or harmful intention, is make sure that you really have distanced yourself as much as you can from all disordered eating behaviors before approaching fat loss. It's literally one of the prerequisites for anyone joining SFL, my sustainable fat loss course. It's just the two existing at the same time is just a recipe for disaster. And so she was like, okay, this is my rough range of the weight I want to get to. It was quite a big range. And then she had that flexibility and like non-rigidity in her journey further down the line, as she was like kind of approaching that range. At some point she was like, actually, you know what? I'm changing that range because I actually feel great as I am now. And so she stopped. So just having that flexibility in your journey. I'm going to pause right there for a minute to share something with you. So if you've been listening so far and feel like you're ready to start your recovery journey with me, I've got the perfect springboard. That is my free masterclass, Why You're Still Binge Eating and How to Stop. It's a 35-minute free video masterclass where I'll walk through all of the reasons you might still be binging. Then I'll give you 3 actionable steps to stop binge eating. So if you're looking for actual results in your life, want to never binge again, trust me, I know the feeling. I was stuck for 10 years doing that. Then head to the show notes to get instant access today. I'll also gift you something for joining me at the masterclass, but I'll leave that surprise for you to find out for yourself. Life is just so damn short, and it's not worth feeling so miserable, unhappy, unhealthy with binging taking over. So watch the masterclass today to start your new life. Okay, let's get back into the show. You might also have anxiety-inducing thoughts. So if you have anything like, oh, I have to go back on a deficit, like that freaks me out, that makes me feel anxious, or like, oh my God, what if I regain the weight? It'd be so terrible. Or like, I can't bear to gain any more weight. All of these kind of thoughts, this rushed, prescriptive, rigid, anxiety-inducing vibe, it's not really where we want to be. If that's what spirals in your head when you start thinking about a potential fat loss journey. Probably not ideal for you at the moment, and I'd give yourself more time and really work on the root of, I guess, those feelings. So like if you're feeling rushed, that to me points to feelings of low self-worth. Like I have to get there now because right now I'm this lack mentality. Like I'm not good enough now and I have to quickly get there. But actually you are good enough now. Good enough is a feeling from within. For me also, that prescriptive mindset kind of points to low self-worth too. It's like I need to get exactly here and nothing more. It's like that's the point at which I deem arbitrarily I will suddenly be like amazing and worthy and hot and all these things, and nothing else is acceptable. It's very prescriptive about your self-worth. So I think both of those things point to just a little bit more self-worth work. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, it's helpful to analyze my thoughts, this kind of task, this kind of exercise, but sometimes it can still be unclear whether, they're ED driven, like disordered eating driven, or genuine. Like, can I really trust if those thoughts are genuine, or if my old self is convincing myself that I want fat loss for healthy reasons? Like, how can you trust your thoughts? For example, you might be, you might have this feeling of thoughts like, oh, we can do it different this time. Like, it's going to be super chill. So that sounds on the surface like a good mindset to be in, but maybe it's like, that old voice trying to say what it thinks you want to hear to allow yourself to go into fat loss, which would like let that old voice win kind of vibe. So yeah, sometimes we kind of lie to ourselves, right? But one thing that can't lie is your body, your feelings, that gut reaction that comes up. So your feelings can be very telling if fat loss is right for you now or not. Take a look at things like, if you think about, okay, imagine I'm going to be going on a fat loss journey soon. I'm going to want to lose this much weight. Imagine the kind of things that you might be doing to lose weight. Do you feel a pit in your stomach at the thought of fat loss? Do you feel this sense of dread? Do you feel a knot in your chest, a closing up in your throat? If so, fat loss probably, again, isn't suitable for you just yet. Maybe, on the other hand, you feel pretty relaxed about the idea of fat loss. Obviously, realistically, I doubt many people will be like overjoyed at the idea of having this extra task on their hands. So it's not like you're going to be feeling like excited, super like interested in it. I mean, maybe you are, who knows, but we want sort of like at least a neutrality. We don't want that dread. We don't want a pit in your stomach. So maybe you feel relaxed about the idea of fat loss. Like, okay, this is it's simply a task, a project that I'm going to do for the next few months. I'm going to take it on for a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. That kind of easygoing vibe. Another thing I would also think about is, are you feeling triggered by even the idea of calories, thinking about calories, weighing yourself, saying no to food sometimes, like in essence, restriction, not in a bad way, but like, if you're trying to lose weight, you might say no to the second slice of cake, for example, or things like eating more protein or thinking about your macros. If all of these kind of things trigger you, I would probably say like not the best time to be going into fat loss journey, because yeah, we want to enter this journey from as neutral a stance as possible. Now, a little bit of a side note is you might not be 100% untriggered by all of those things I just mentioned, like calories, weighing yourself, a deficit, more protein, da 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 da. You might still be working on some of them, and that's okay. So maybe earlier in your food healing journey, all those things really triggered you, and as I discussed in the 30-day reboot, we want to press pause on all of these things. Give yourself a freaking break. Like, don't weigh yourself. You don't have to think about tracking or calories. Like, just let things be much more natural and calculated. So you might have worked on that. You might have relieved some of those triggers, but no one's perfect. Maybe some of those things still bother you or trigger you, or just things you don't really want to even have to think about for the rest of your life, because maybe you spent years obsessing about things like calories. The idea here is, it's okay if like some of those things bother you. We just don't want all of these concepts to trigger you, because you're likely to encounter at least some of these in a fat loss journey. Bear in mind, in SFL, sustainable fat loss, we always offer workarounds and options because I understand this exact concept where, some things in the past have really been obsessive and then we've worked to release them and maybe they still trigger you, or maybe you just don't want to have to give a fuck about calories anymore. So we always have options. For example, like you never have to weigh yourself in SFL, or even if you don't do SFL, even if you do your own journey, never have to weigh yourself. There's always options. You don't have to count calories. There's always another option. One more thing, actually, just kind of going back to those anxiety-inducing thoughts around fat loss. So you might have, assessed those thoughts and been like, oh, actually, I do have quite a lot of anxiety around the thought of fat loss. So maybe, yeah, I shouldn't be doing it right now. But, it might be a little bit more complicated than that, because it's not that. It could be your old eating disorder self trying to push you towards fat loss, and then you're kind of feeling anxious around it. And so then you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing a fat loss journey right now. It might genuinely be because you've just always had bad experiences with weight loss. For example, in the past, when your eating disorder was running the show, your fat loss journeys were, rushed, extreme, full of self-loathing and just urgency and desperation. Not good vibes, not good methods, extreme measures. And even though now you're in a better place with food, with your body, everything, you'll still have these old memories of what fat loss was like. You might have never lost fat in a gentle, slow, healthy way. So then it would make sense that you now thinking about fat loss might make you feel anxious because it's only ever been torturous for you. So why would you suddenly be like, oh, this is going to be chill, da 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 da, this is just a simple task, we're just going to take it on for a few months. It's unlikely that you would feel that because it's only ever been bad for you. Maybe you do feel that way, but I can imagine that there would be anxiety if all of your past experiences were full of anxiety. So I know that kind of complicates this analysis a little bit, but as always, deep down you best. So discover where that anxiety around fat loss is coming from. Maybe in the future, if you do things differently, your fat loss journey wouldn't be so anxiety inducing. So yeah, something to ponder indeed. To kind of summarize, I think the main thing here is, with a desire to lose weight, we want to be in a place where we're unattached to weight loss. If you have this feeling of, I have to do this now, I have to get to this goal weight ASAP, fat loss is not for you yet. We want a chilled out, unattached vibe where fat loss isn't going to take over your entire life. It's just a thing. You're going to make a few tweaks here and there. You're going to make your decision on your strategy, and then you're just going to drop it. You're just going to do it and continue living life. And you're not going to let it control your feelings, dictate your mood, things like that. So unattached feelings about it is the most ideal state to be in. And just a quick recap. Number one, distance yourself as much as you can from those old past behaviors that were harmful, like binging, purging, restriction, as long as you can before thinking about fat loss. This helps reduce the likelihood of your desire to lose fat to be stemming from an unhealthy space. Number two, look at those thoughts and feelings around weight loss, especially listening to what your body is telling you, because it's harder for it to lie or convince you otherwise. Number three, if you do decide to move forward with fat loss, I definitely recommend checking out my course, SFL. Specifically, it's been made for those who had a difficult relationship with food and body in the past, who have now worked on it, they've distanced themselves from that old self, and they want to lose fat in a healthy way with a healthy mindset all throughout. And last thing is, if after this episode you still feel like, I'm still not totally sure if this is right for me to move forward with something like SFL or your own journey, go to the show notes. There's a quick quiz, takes like 2 minutes to do, and it's going to help you figure out if you're in the right place, the right mindset to be jumping into a fat loss journey right now. Definitely recommend that. All right, that's it for this episode. As you guys know, for the last few months, these episodes have been all about responding to your own questions. So literally anything. DM me on Instagram, comment on TikTok, write in those question boxes I put in my stories, because this is really all for you to help you guys out. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have an amazing week. And that's the scoop for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something new that you can start applying to your life. It really helps my podcast to grow and reach more women who are struggling as well when you rate and review. So if you got a spare minute, I would appreciate it so much if you could rate and review. And if you took something from this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with someone in your life. Change someone's day, mood, or even their life. Be that person. I know I absolutely love it when my sister sends me podcast episodes. It just shows me she's thinking of me and she wants to help me elevate alongside her. As always, feel free to DM me on Instagram at freewithbreed. I'm always open for feedback, and let me know what you want me to speak about on the podcast, because after all, this podcast is for you. Okay, that's it from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time.